Hello.
Hello.
Hey, how are you, Zach?
Good. How are you?
Good, thank you. Are you coming in your audio or your video? I'm sorry.
I will set it up in a little bit. I'm new to this meeting thing, so I will get it on.
Okay, perfect, perfect. Ah,
I think it's going to be a long one. There's a lot of packets in this one.
yeah, the only thing that John's going to do a little differently is I think he's going to put the application for Stonebridge Crossing as the last one versus the fourth one.
Okay.
So, yeah, I think there'll be quite a few people on this one.
Yeah, because the Tuttle Ave one should be quick. That we've already met with that one a few times.
Yeah, and even Counterweight, right? Counterweight should be okay.
Yep. Yep. This has been the biggest pack in a long time.
You know what? This packet was the funniest packet to put together. It is a big packet and all the maps.
They delivered it this time.
Yeah, we had to, well, we had to hand deliver them because there was no way we could get it all out obviously the mail. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's the biggest packet I've ever put together as well.
Biggest packet I've had. And
Now, did you read it all?
not all of it.
Oh, yeah. In fact, I think two people, because we had two full-size maps for the Stonebridge Crossing project. I think two people had to get the monster huge maps. So I think Tom Scannell and John Parati got those.
Yeah, mine, I don't know. I got some big drawings too.
Yeah, there were a map with each project. So yeah, it's exciting, a lot going on.
Yeah, well, it's good, especially with all the craziness going on.
Oh, I know. Keeps your mind focused on important stuff.
It does. It does.
Yeah.
But with this pandemic, the cost of materials is so high, the cost to do anything is through the roof.
It is. I actually had a fence guy come out and he said, you know what? The difference between a vinyl and a wood fence is nothing anymore because the price of wood's so sky high.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you're right, like metal, everything.
One 2x4 is like $10 now. Last time I was building, they were like $2 a piece.
Well, I hope that changes. I don't,
Yeah,
we can't blame everything on the pandemic, right?
No, it was just a rough ride, but it's getting better.
Yeah. We had one project, I forget what the one it was. We bid out a project here and metal. I guess it was the down south. They couldn't, it was with the storms down south. They couldn't get quotes for metal framing materials.
Oh, wow.
So,
Wow. Because some of that Kurtz ones is a house, so that one will be a lot more money to build.
The second one down, Puddle Up.
Yeah, that's for a new house.
Yeah, and they wanted to connect what to the Wallingford?
The Wallingford sewer system.
Yeah.
But we already voted that it was okay. I think we were just waiting for the paperwork to come back from Wallingford and whatever fees were going to be involved. Because we've met on that one 3 or 4 times already.
Yeah, I invited Anthony Fazzone as well. I didn't hear back from him if he was coming because I think he represents that particular project.
He does.
Okay.
He does.
Yeah, I didn't.
He usually represents every project.
Yeah, he's amazing.
Mm.
He gets a lot done.
That he does.
And he's very old school. He still likes to come up to town hall, do his searching, drop off his stuff. He's a really nice man.
Oh, he definitely is. He's been doing it a long time.
Yeah.
Long time.
All right, Jason Beach is coming on. Hi, Jason.
Hi, Jason.
Good afternoon. Hi there.
No skating?
We're almost through the season. We're close. Yes. Yep.
Nice.
Tryouts are already past us for my daughter, and then my son Jax has tryouts next week. So
And your daughter plays as well?
She does. My oldest daughter. Yep, we got 3 kids.
North Haven? North Haven?
Yeah, they play over at Northford. Exactly.
Northford, yeah.
Northford Ice
It's a pretty
Pavilion.
rink.
It is nice.
Yeah, there's lots of opportunities for girls ice hockey now.
There are
So good
Yep.
for you. And how old are your kids, all 3 of them?
9, 11, and 13.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Yep.
Nice. Mine are 18 and 19 now. I miss parts of those days. Hi,
Wow.
John. Yeah. There he goes. Can you hear me, John?
I'm here.
Oh, good. Yeah,
I can
that's
hear you.
great. I can hear you loud and clear. I like your background. Nice.
Oh no, that's not. I shouldn't have that on. That's not right.
Oh, yeah, your Fuss and O'Neill conflict of interest. You're right.
Yes,
But it looks
yeah.
nice.
I had my HRP one up too a little while ago.
Oh, you did.
Crap, how do
I
I
gotta figure.
still?
I gotta remember how to get it off.
There's
Where is it? Under stop video
There was a
or
little- there
virtual
was a little-
background? Here it is.
there you go.
Here. How's
Oh, there you go. That's
Beautiful.
nice. You'll be well received with that background.
that? Yeah, exactly.
You
Oh.
think
wanna
your
see-
son's going to apply for a job this year?
Is he supposed to? He didn't call
He should
you?
write to me. No, he should call me or write to me and let me know. So,
All right. Here, I'm just. You know what I'm doing right now? Ann said to call you.
yes.
Where is he? Brian.
Hi, Tom.
He's there.
Called you and hung up.
Oh.
And no, it's all right.
There you are.
Ann said to call her about. the
How you
summer.
feeling, Tom?
I'm feeling better every day.
Good.
I can
Marilyn Milton's been trying to get a hold of you.
whoops, what I do.
Oh, no. You're not in trouble.
That's a guilty conscience.
I didn't do it. I
Hi,
wasn't
Steve.
there.
Okay.
I'll be right back.
Okay. No, you don't know the subject?
loud here?
I think, is your son a heart surgeon?
My son is in Hartford. It's the Hartford.
Yeah. I think she was going to talk to you, kind of connect with you. So she'll get in touch with you.
Okay, that's fine, but she's not
Yeah.
there.
No, she's good. She's all good. She
Okay.
just can't be here tonight because she's got, I believe it's school modernization. So we all have to be really clear when we speak and motion and everything else so that I'm going to tape it here and we'll record it as well. So we'll double duty for her.
Okay, so in other words, don't say anything.
Don't say anything.
Be quiet.
No.
Where's this?
All right.
We got a pile. I have everything lined up behind me over here. It's like,
Oh, good.
yeah, you same thing.
We're building a new city.
We are. Steve, how are you?
I'm good, John. How are you?
Doing good.
Jason.
This is as much business in one meeting as we get in a year.
I know I'm going to be exhausted after this.
Here comes Tom Knowlton. Hi, Tom.
Oh, Tom.
Hello.
Good evening, Tom. Good day, Zach. You're on.
I'm here.
Good. How you been?
Good. How about you?
Good. Thank you. Good to hear you.
Hey, Zach. Tom Scanlon.
Hello.
How's it going?
Good.
James Urbano.
Jimmy, good. From Florida.
There he is.
Hey, Jim.
Hey, Jimmy.
Hey, how are you guys?
Good, thank you. What's the temperature, Jimmy?
Today was a hot day, like 80, 84, 85 degrees.
Nice.
Oh,
It was like 73 here, so.
yeah, beautiful.
Yeah, we turned the air conditioner on.
We didn't.
He opened the windows. That's what he meant.
That's
Uh,
Scott Hellier.
Hello, Ann.
Scott, how are you?
Good, thank you.
Hellier.
Hello, everyone.
Jim. Oh, I like your flag.
Good evening, Scott.
When we pledge, we can all stare at you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a little one on my wall.
You can use that one too. That'll be good. Yeah.
This, I don't know if you guys used to listen to Rush Limbaugh, but this is the Stand Up for Betsy Ross flag.
Oh, okay.
I have one flying at home on my 20-foot flagpole.
Wow.
I have a feeling that when everybody gets in, it's going to be a real, you know, I have my bigger monitor, but still it's going to be pretty small.
The tiles will get smaller and smaller.
Yes.
Tom,
Wow.
are you Tom Knowlton? You're from Mylone McBroom?
Yes.
Okay.
He
okay.
is.
Two people.
Oh, we got Ryan. We got Ryan. We
Yeah,
got a lot.
Frank.
My gosh.
Frank's iPhone. Frank,
I didn't know he was coming.
Frank Di Natale. is
Okay.
Here. Ryan McAvoy. Hi, Ryan. Ryan. Yeah. I'm sorry to say Mylone McBroom. It's SLR now. It's still getting used to that.
So are we.
Yeah, it's tough for me. Dennis Dybert.
You got the control there, Ann, letting him in and out, huh?
I do. I could just knock everybody off if I wanted, one by one.
Could you mute, can you mute Tom Scannell?
Yes.
Only when my dinner's ready.
Okay, Matthew Westfall.
And Ann, you're keeping track of everyone,
I
I
am.
assume. Thank you.
Yes, I am. Matthew, where are you from?
Prospect.
Okay, and which application are you here for?
The Counterweight Brewing Company.
Perfect.
All right,
Thank
you're
you.
up first.
No,
No?
I think I'm going to move E to the front just
Okay.
because I want to keep Stonebridge last.
Okay,
So
all right, sure.
it's just easier to say we're moving E to first than me to jumble everything up. Unless Matt really wants to just watch everything else and then wait till the end. No,
Yeah, need to do.
want to try to go through the easier ones first.
Sure.
Okay.
Jason,
Yes, sir.
you're not skating anymore, are you?
That I was just telling Ann, there's still tryouts for my son. My daughter just finished up tryouts. There's a couple more games this weekend.
What'd you do? Did you take the rink down yet? Or is it just
Yeah.
sitting there wet? Oh, you did, yeah.
Yep. I didn't want to kill the lawn, you know.
No, that was what I used to try to get it up quick enough.
Yep.
Hey, Dennis.
There's Ryan. Hi, Dennis.
Hello,
Hi,
how you
Ryan.
doing?
Great.
Good. I'm still waiting. I think, I don't know. Oh, here comes Chris DeAngelis. Yep. And Paul Bowman.
Chris is ball and socket, or I'm not sure.
Yeah, me neither. Let me see. I'll just unmute for a second.
Well, it's 6 o'clock, so we'll wait another 30 seconds or so, and I think we have.
As a suggestion, do we have the representatives from each one of the applicants online? Counterweight, I know we have. Lot 4 Tuttle Avenue,
Who's representing that? Ryan,
Ryan.
ball
okay.
and socket. Who's
Socket.
representing ball and socket?
Hi, this is Chris DeAngelis. I'm just logging on and I'm representing Ball and Socket.
All right, welcome.
Perfect. And 687 South Main. We don't have 687 South Main.
Yeah, that's Ryan.
Oh, that's Ryan?
Okay,
Yep.
so we've got everybody here.
So Ryan McAvoy, you're representing lot
687 South.
Oh, 687.
Yeah.
How about Tuttle Avenue?
Oh, that's right. Is that you, Ryan? You're on
No,
mute.
Ryan, you're muted.
Yeah, yeah, that's Ryan.
Ask to unmute. So Ryan McAvoy is representing.
Ryan, you're doing two, Ryan? You're doing three? You can only do two at once.
He's an overachiever.
What does he
Okay.
got?
He's trying to call in because he can't connect with audio.
Yell
Okay.
loud. We might be able to hear you. All right, well, we're gonna call the meeting to order and we will work through the technical part if we have to move people around. Ryan, if you have to call in, we'll just, why don't we, when we get to the point, it's gonna be some time anyway before we actually get to the applications. So we'll call tonight's Water Pollution Control Authority meeting to order Thursday, March 25th at 6 p.m. via Zoom. We'll stand for the Pledge of Allegiance to Jim's chest, I guess. I pledge allegiance to the flag, of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you all. And can you please take roll?
Sure. Okay, so members who are, I'm going to read off the members first. John Parati,
Present.
Aboud Abdelghani, not here. Zach Welburn,
Here.
Tom Scannell,
Here.
James Urbano,
Here.
Stephen Carroll,
Here,
Jason Beach.
Here.
Non-members who are present include Scott Hallier,
Here.
Paul Bowman,
Here.
Thomas Knowlton,
Here.
Frank DiNatale, Ryan McAvoy, Matthew Westfall,
Here.
and Chris DeAngelis. Okay.
Here, yep.
We have a quorum, right?
Purdue.
Yes.
Do. Fantastic. Okay, we'll move on to item number 3, public communications. We received the 2020 Chespacott septic system failures, which was basically put together. And we received the information from Chespacott, and I think that Don Nolte put this together, I believe. Steve, you had asked, we had talked about
and
this.
He did manage to give us 5 years worth of data there.
Yeah, and I
was-
think that's pretty
I was
good.
just curious to see if there are any patterns of septic failures, but
And looks like there are in the west part of town along, along Mountain Road and that whole area up there,
Yeah.
Sorghum Mill and that.
yeah, that's about the biggest cluster on the map.
Some hot spots. So this will be good information when we get to other things, regarding long-term planning, things like that. I do appreciate them getting that information to us. George is here.
George Malotny.
Good evening.
So,
Good evening.
thank you. Hey, George.
Good evening.
All right. Any other questions on that, Steve? I know that, really, it's
No,
really
I
for our
mean,
own.
Yeah, the town has not done any sewering of existing neighborhoods for better than 10 years now. And unless something changes on that, the sewer failures are just sort of a, information of interest, but not necessarily actionable.
Yeah, agreed. Any other comments from any of the other authority members on this?
I think it's a good thing to study. I know that everybody looked at it, looked up their own address and then put it away.
Mhm.
And we did, thanks. All right, so we're gonna move on to number 4, the applications. We have 5 of them, so I think a record since I've been on the authority.
And you want to bring item 4E to present status?
I would like to bring 4E if Ryan. That's, you got some good
Yeah.
feedback there, Ryan.
Can you hear me now?
Well, I can hear you now.
Yes.
Okay.
Can't see you, but we can hear you. That's okay. Okay, so we're gonna, make that, oh, there you are. So we can make that change. We're gonna move 4E to the first one. So, and we will turn it over to you, Ryan, and you can go through your application and I'll grab my packet.
Okay. Which one are we starting with? Because I missed out in the last few minutes of the meeting. So we start with Counterweight?
We're on 687 South Main.
Okay, let me, if I can I
687.
bring up my, share my screen.
Do you need,
Okay.
I mean, we have the information here, so,
Okay, I can just make the presentation then.
yeah, and then Dennis, you will be able to just give your summary of the engineering opinion letter too on that. And then, we'll talk about it. If we have any questions, I think Ryan, then we could ask for, supporting information, but we have everything here. If the authority or other members need it, then we'll ask for it.
Okay, great. So this application, we received feasibility approval already. It is for a 7-unit residential complex at the corner of South Main Street and Higgins Road. In the previous feasibility application, we had shown all 7 units to be connected to the sanitary sewer system on South Main Street via pumps, connecting to an existing manhole at the intersection of South Main Street and Higgins Road. At the time of feasibility, it was expressed by this authority that to the maximum extent possible, we should pursue or look to pursue gravity options for as many units as possible. And as part of that review or that update, we now show the easterly 3 units of the 7 to be connected via gravity, and the westerly 4 units, which are lower in elevation and cannot connect via gravity, remain on a duplex E1 pump, which will discharge to a manhole on the property and connect to the existing gravity sewer in South Main Street. But we will not be going into the intersection of Higgins Road. We can manage all the connections, all the excavation, all the installation on the property without going below 4 feet below existing grade, which, as you may recall, the site is subject to an ELR, an environmental land use restriction that prohibits excavation 4 feet below grade. So we're able to achieve that with the pump, with the gravity installation, and the new manhole in the state right of way. Some of the questions raised by your consultant include some additional detail on the pump itself. We estimate that this duplex E1 pump can discharge at a rate of approximately 13 gallons per minute through a 1 1/4 inch force main. It can handle, and Tom Knowlton's with me and he can jump in if I misspeak here because he helped me with these numbers. It can handle up to 5,000 gallons per day, which greatly exceeds the estimated 800 gallons per day, which would be directed to this particular pump. We do have provisions for a generator on site located nearest to Higgins Road. So there will be backup power available to operate the pump in the event of a power outage. And that's a brief summary of the application, but the flows are unchanged from our feasibility, 7 units, 206 gallons per unit. And if there's any questions, I'd be happy to answer them at this time.
Brian, I think I heard you say 5,000 gallons a day. It's actually 3,000 gallons per day for that pump.
Thank you, Tom, for correcting me.
All right.
Told you.
Okay. Thank you very much, Ryan. Dennis, do you have any other comments that you would like to just summarize your memorandum to the authority members? We all have it in front of us, but if there's anything else in there.
Yeah, sure. Ryan actually answered all of the items that were of concern. I had no problems with the layout. I agree with the layout. Just some housekeeping items that, yeah, again, he had answered. And then just how the existing subsurface disposal system is to be abandoned, some notes on that. Or if it has been abandoned already, just some documentation on that. And that's it.
So we can provide information on the abandonment of the system. Generally, in this case, because of the ELR, we don't look to excavate, but the septic tank will be crushed and backfilled with gravel. And I don't have the exact information on the existing leaching field, but if it's pipe and stone, it can be pretty easily removed. But we can certainly document that to Chesbro and provide the authority with any information, or staff with any information verifying that abandonment.
Oh, that's great, Ryan. Thanks. And then lastly, the water, how is water going to be metered to the site, just for purposes of calculating sewer fees?
We estimate, we believe at this time that they'll be individually metered, but we have not made that determination yet with the Regional Water Authority. So
Okay.
again, that's information that we can provide to staff as it becomes available through more coordination with the water company.
Great. Thanks, Ryan.
Any questions from any of the authority members?
I think this has come up in the past, but if the units are individually metered, I believe that each unit will be subject to the annual sewer use fee.
Yeah, dwelling
Versus
commercial.
if a single water meter were used, it would be subject to the commercial rate. Just an FYI, Ryan, so you know.
Yep, I anticipate, I imagine that we're going to have these individually metered. That would certainly make the most sense. But like I said, I just don't have that information quite yet.
Okay. Well, thank you for all the information. I believe everything has been addressed to the WPCA's satisfaction. I'll ask again, anybody else, any questions? Hearing none, maybe we can entertain a motion.
Sure, I'll make a motion to approve the application for final design and the award of capacity approval for 680 South Main Street LLC.
687. 680, make sure it's 687 South Main Street.
I'm sorry, did I misspeak? 687.
South Main Street. Second, okay, moved, put on the plate from Steve and Tom. Did you second it?
I did.
Tom said, okay, Tom seconded it. I just want to make sure that we're asked to make sure that we note who moves has the motion, and then who actually seconds it, so that when Marilyn does the minutes, she can hear clearly. So anything else on that, Ann, you want to add?
No, that's great. Thank you so much.
Okay, all right. Okay, so we have a motion. It's been seconded. All in favor, or any comments? None. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Vote passes unanimously by all those virtually present. Okay. Next one we have is going to be Counterweight Brewery, 7 Diana Court. Grab the application, and you have the floor, Matt, right? Matt, you're on mute.
I can introduce the application.
Okay.
Again, it's Ryan McAvoy, professional engineer with Mylona McBroom with SLR Consulting. Excuse me, old habits die hard. And here with me is Matt Westfall from Counterweight Brewing. This application is for final approval and award of capacity for a 20,000 square foot brewery at the north end of Diana Court, 7 Diana Court. We're proposing a new connection for the brewery, a little bit separate from the existing connection that exists for the property. And the reason why we're proposing a new connection is there is a significant gas utility easement that runs along Diana Court between our proposed building and the sewer. And by rerouting the sewer to the north, we're able to avoid the gas mains and the gas easement. The gas company requires 2-foot separation for any new connections, and I don't believe that we'd be able to reuse the lateral that's there. So we do propose a new 8-inch main that will connect the existing building and the brewery, and we're asking for an award of 10,000 gallons per day. You may recall that at the time of feasibility, we had estimated at the time 8,000 gallons a day, and that was a fairly simple extrapolation looking at their current brewery, look at the proposed brewery, and running some numbers and extrapolating the current water usage data versus what we would expect for a larger building. After discussions with Counterweight, we feel that as their business, hopefully for their purposes, increases, so will their water usage. So we wanted to be perhaps on the conservative side and raise our daily sewer generation to 10,000 gallons per day. Although we believe that it'll be much lower on a typical day, we wanted to give you the upper limit. As part of this application, we've also prepared a general permit that's submitted to the state for the sewage generation, where we give a range of pollutants in the sewage for TSS, BOD, nitrogen, and pH levels. And those are all based on information provided by Matt with their current operation and the anticipation that more modern equipment would result in lower levels of nitrogen, BOD, et cetera. So that's all been provided to you. In terms of the connection to the sewer main, we anticipate this will just be a standard, likely cast iron Y connection. The town has sort of standard information on that. We intend on using whatever Scott Howley requires for our new connection. And the existing line will be cut at the right-of-way line, at the right-of-way limits, and capped so that there's no more flow going through the existing lateral. Matt Westfall is here to discuss some of the nature of the brewing process within the facility, if you have any questions about how they intend to operate.
Okay, thank you, Ryan. I think we'll have Dennis just give a summary of his memo, and then Matt, if you have anything to add to that, you're welcome to, provide your commentary.
Great, thanks. Thanks, John. Yeah, so I guess all the comments were addressed. It's a simple swap, an existing connection being abandoned, just putting a new connection in, tying in at a different location. The layout is fine, 6-inch from the building to a manhole, and then 8-inch to the gravity main. And the only thing I did discuss with the applicant earlier this week was I know that the WPCA is interested in understanding the filtering system and the process being used to remove the hops prior to being discharged. So if you could just give us a brief overview of that. And then also, we did discuss the sampling. He is correct. There is ranges of BOD, TSS, that type of thing in the application package. So I guess the only recommendation I would have is once the brewery is started up and has become stable, if they could just take a grab sample and report it to Scott. Thank you.
Matt, anything else to add to that, especially on the filtering?
Yeah, so we're going to employ, our best management practices to separate any of our solids. So
Matt, I think you got to give your name and address just for the record.
Matt Westfall, 279 Matthew Street in Prospect, from Counterweight Brewing Company. So yeah, we're going to be employing best management practices by separating all of our solids. The three main things that we're going to be separating out of the process are going to be hops, our spent barley malt, and our yeast. Yeast obviously being the thing that's going to potentially increase BOD, but we're going to be collecting most of that for reuse. And our hops will go into totes that will be picked up by a compost company, and they'll be composted for us. And then the solids, as far as barley malt is going to go, is we're going to be installing a wet auger that will be able to take the solids outside, put it in a silo, and that will be picked up by a local farmer to feed some cattle. So we're gonna be able to separate all of these things out and be as efficient as possible.
Okay.
I would offer just to follow up on Dennis's comment that and Matt, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe we'd be happy to provide samples of effluent discharge.
Certainly.
To to staff once the brewing operation is substantially commenced.
Absolutely.
Any questions from any of the authority members? Yes.
Is it, would it be too much to ask to get periodic samples of the discharge, at least until we know there's some consistency to that discharge? I don't want to put a burden on you, but if we had samples, say, every 3 to 6 months for the first year, we'd at least know that, you know, what plane we're on at the end of 12 months.
Certainly.
Okay.
Yeah, and because you have to go for a permit, that's going to be fairly regulated too.
Yeah, there's some new regulations that came down,
Yeah.
and it's going to be impacting all of us brewers in here in the state.
Right. So the DEP will be kind of putting their finger in the process, I guess is the best way to put it. All right. Again, any other questions other than wanting to go there? I see Steve is looking.
Oh, you want to make a motion then? Okay. I'd like to make a motion to approve the application for final design and award of capacity to Counterweight Brewing Company on the order of 10,000 gallons per day.
For the application, yeah.
I'll second that.
Seconded by Jason. Thank you, Jason. Any other questions or comments from any authority members?
Yes, I will have to abstain because I have a financial interest in one of their competitors. So I would feel like I just will not vote on that, just to keep things clean.
Thank you, Jim. All right, so all in favor?
Aye.
So we have in favor is Jason, myself, Tom, and Steve. Opposed is none, and one abstention from Jim Urbano.
Get Zach.
So, and Zach, I'm sorry, Zach. Yeah, he's back on. Zach,
I'm here.
you're here, and your vote?
Yeah, I vote for it.
For it, thank you. So I'm sorry, Zach is for it also. Without seeing you, I forgot about you, Zach. I'm sorry. So the motion passes for Counterweight Brewery. Thank you very much, guys.
Thank you.
Next on the docket is item listed as item B, lot number 4 on Tuttle Avenue, Earl J. Kurtz and Lauren A. Kurtz. It's the memo. You grab that. Okay, and Ryan, you're up again, right?
Yeah, I don't know if is Anthony Fazzone on the call.
Mr. DeAngelis just came onto the call, but Anthony is not here.
Anthony, yeah, I was expecting Anthony to take part in this application, but I'd be happy to
Put on your lawyer hat.
discuss it. Yeah. I don't get as much per hour. Once again, for the record, Ryan McAvoy, licensed professional engineer with SLR Consulting. And this, I suppose it's not exactly an application that we're seeking approval for, but what we are looking to do on this particular property is connecting to Wallingford Sewer. And we do have approval from the Wallingford Sewer Department for the nature of our connection, elevations, and details associated with the connection. And it is between Wallingford and I believe the town manager for Cheshire to authorize the modification to the intermunicipal agreement between Cheshire and Wallingford. And what we're seeking from you, from the authority, is I guess consent, or for lack of a better term, a blessing from the authority to allow the powers that be to authorize the modification to the intermunicipal agreement. So it's not a formal approval we're seeking, but I do believe having some sort of a positive motion from you would certainly assist in processing that at the on the legal end.
Right. I think, Ryan, what we had asked last time was that, you know, even though we didn't know it was no award of capacity, there's nothing to be done here, but we wanted to make sure that the intermunicipal agreement was in process. It was Wallingford would accept this, you know, these flows. And I think, Steve, that was what we were questioning just to make sure that it's
Yeah.
in the right process, and then it can go back. I guess George, would this go right to then Sean for his approval? Is that what?
Yeah, I think that Sean could approve it and probably have the town attorney review it as well.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think-
after attorney review, John, you'll be signing it and Sean will be signing it. Is this an existing intermunicipality agreement or is this a new one? Are we modifying an existing?
Yeah,
There is an intermunicipal agreement between Cheshire and Wallingford, but it does not include this property.
Okay, so
So the
that'll just
modification-
make it easier. There should be no problem at all with
No.
that application.
So the agreement just lists the properties.
Correct.
They're not separate agreements for each property, Ryan?
I honestly don't know the answer to that, but because this property is not part of any current intermunicipal agreement, I believe it's essentially a copy and paste exercise.
Yeah. So as long as this passes legal, we have no problem. I think for formality, we will just make a motion that we understand the process and we have no problems with it. I'll let Steve make the motion because he's
thanks.
crafty with the verbiage of that.
I don't know about that, but I guess I would make a motion that the WPCA supports the application of lot number 4, Tuttle Avenue, and the associated intermunicipality agreement with Wallingford.
And that we have no problem with that. Yeah. Seconded, so motion by Steve, seconded by Tom. Any further discussions? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Everything. So it was unanimous, unanimously approved. Okay.
Thank you very much.
Ryan, are you done?
I am. Good night, everybody.
Good night,
geez.
Ryan.
All right. Next one on the docket C, we have Ball and Socket Arts Phase 1 building numbers 2 and 3, 493 West Main Street. Who is representing that?
Hi, everyone. I'm Chris DeAngelis, and I'm representing this applicant.
Okay, you have the floor as we all grab the packet and take a look at it.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you for hearing us tonight. We are looking to get the first phase of this project going, which involves 2 buildings on the site. They're 2 small buildings. They're, if you're familiar with the site, they're the 2 wooden buildings that are parallel to Willow Street. The 2 buildings total are about, I think about 7,500 or 8,000 square feet. So they're not large buildings. Be kind of a mixture of retail use with an ice cream shop in one of the buildings. And then other than that would just be kind of low intense use office and a small art gallery, art administrative office. Just gonna put my headphones on here for a second. Hopefully I'll block out any background noise.
That's better. Thank you, Chris.
Yeah, sorry about that. All right. So again, this is for 2 buildings on the site, total of about 7,500 or 8,000 square feet, a mixture of retail and office use. Currently, there are we think there are 2 existing connections, sewer connections on the site. They're made on the westerly part of the site. They go beneath the canal. I've only been able to verify one of them. And that is from the main building on the site, building 1, which is not part of this application at this time. The second one we think comes out of the rear building that we call the Coal House building. It's building number 5 on the plans that were submitted to you. I haven't verified that if it's there. I've been told it's there. I haven't seen anything. And I have some mapping that shows a sewer in that vicinity. But this application is just strictly for the first 2 buildings, number 2 and 3. Again, those are the long kind of wooden barn looking buildings that are along Willow Street. These 2 buildings have never had any kind of sanitary service. They were just used for, I'm not sure, maybe just storage or light manufacturing, but no facilities within either of those structures as far as I can tell. So what we're looking to do, since we have a nice deep sewer along Willow Street, is to connect those 2 buildings into the Willow Street public system. And the reason we need to do this is we can't get physically to the existing connection, which is on the other side of building 1. So we would have to somehow either go through building 1 or around it to the north or to the south, both of which would be incredibly difficult given the conditions at the site, the limited working area between building 1 and the canal. In some spaces, there's as few as 4 or 5 feet of room. Just no room whatsoever to get any kind of trenching or machine back there. That existing manhole that is already back there that we would need to tie into, it's not in terrible shape, it's in fair shape, but you can just tell that it's going to need maintenance soon. And we will do that when we get to the phase of the project where building 1 comes online. So what we'd like to do for now to get going is to make this new connection on Willow Street. We did get a positive report from your reviewing engineer. In that report, we had submitted some estimated flows. You can see they were very low. Your system can easily accept them. There were some comments about just needing more details on the plans as far as the connection, I think, the way it's made to the existing sewer on Willow Street. But other than that, I think this is very sensible way to take care of the sewage at the site. We know that there's more to do for the other buildings as they come online, so I'll be back in front of you when we get to that point. Hopefully, phase 2 occurs next year. So maybe later this year, even I'll start coming back to you with more information for those other buildings, and hopefully those 2 other buildings can share the same connection. So we're hoping to limit this to just the 2 sewer connections from the site. So
Okay.
just to summarize it, there are 2 existing connections, one of which I've verified, one I haven't verified. We're asking for a 3rd connection, but in the future, I'm hoping to eliminate one of those other 2 connections because I just don't have a lot of confidence that it's there or that we can reuse it.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. DeAngelis. Mr. Diver, you can provide a summary of your letter of opine for this.
Sure, John. Yeah, I mean, Chris pretty much said everything I said in my memo. I think the layout makes a lot of sense, and I certainly understand the hardships that were presented. Just again, it was just a plan drawings. Just need some detail sheets on how to construct the sewer to review that, and then a reminder, like you said, when you come back for the other 2 buildings, just make sure you have all that research done on those existing connections. Thank you.
Sure, and I would request if WPC has any information in the site or in the area that they could share with me, that would be great. I got a couple of documents, but still I'm kind of scratching my head about some of the utilities that's going on back there.
Well, I mean, you have a group of people in front of you here. I'm not sure what information they may have, but somebody from here might have some more information that may be able to help you. I personally don't.
Yeah, I'll be reaching out as we get into the next phase.
Yeah,
Okay.
your best bet, Chris, is to just have somebody televise it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's relatively, well, it's probably $1,000 they'll charge you.
So the only question I have on the process is the Willow Street main, is that clay?
I
Scott,
believe
do you know?
so. Yes.
Probably.
Yeah, okay, so I guess that we'd want to see some more detail on the connection and the care that may be required going into that area. Anything from your side on that, Dennis or Scott? No.
Yeah, I mean, clay, it breaks when you try to connect to it. So
Yeah, well,
gotta be prepared to chase it down and have some sticks of the PVC available when you're doing it.
yeah, and it's old. Everything in that area is old.
Okay.
So
It's a slow, tedious process to connect to it.
yeah, it's not quick. All right, are there any questions from authority members on the ball and socket
I have
application?
I have one. Did we get an application for feasibility? I just
That's
don't
what I
recall
was. Yeah, I was actually looking at this and I didn't remember that myself, but
It was done back in 2014 when the project was initially conceived.
Did we
I thought I included,
extend
yeah, I
it?
thought I
Because I
included
think
that
they're
letter.
5 years, right? Was it 5, Steve?
I think it was extended.
It did? Okay. If we
I thought
extended
there
it,
was a
then
letter in there, correct, Chris?
I
In the
included a
packet?
letter, yep, January 9th, 2014, January 15th, 2014. I don't think I included the extended letter.
well, we can, approve on
That's okay. I just want to
confirmation.
make sure I don't have to make an appointment with my neurologist because my memory is gone.
We should do that anyway, but
The other question I had was, how did you come up with the flows, 10,000 per day?
So that was from the feasibility study. That was from the conceptual flow estimate, and that was included in the packet. I'm looking at it here. It was a total of, let's see. So this is for the entire site. This was 56,600 square feet for retail space.
Oh, I see. Yep.
Yeah. I attached it as attachment B2 in your packet.
Right, I got
Conceptual
it.
flow estimate. Yeah, and this was
Yep.
this was done by Ryan McAvoy, who does
Okay,
everything in
thank
town.
you.
Yep. So
I'm fine.
Jason, Tom,
Okay.
Zach,
Would we have to make
well, asking, do you have any further questions, Tom?
Anthony.
Questions here?
Anthony's here. Anthony Fazzone's entering the meeting.
Okay.
Great.
We can give him the update of where we are. Anthony, how are you?
Hey, I'm doing well, and you?
I'm doing good, thanks.
I didn't look at the agenda to see that it was 6 o'clock.
Well, that's okay. I can give you the good news and or the good news. I guess we approved it, or we made a motion of, I guess, memorializing the, agreement for Tuttle Avenue. But maybe if you could just give for the authority members the summary of where it stands with regards to the legal aspect of it.
The document, the agreement's all prepared. And I will, now that you've just kind of given your blessing to it, I will send the documents, the municipal agreement over to Wallingford and to the town manager at the same time. And I believe the process is that they will, I know the process is that they will send it to the town attorneys. And once they sign off on it, we'll be all set to hook up. I don't know is Ryan there?
He was, he bugged out, actually. He left because
Okay.
he already had 4 applications, so he was tired.
Oh boy, you guys move quickly. I don't know. I never do that, but I didn't look at the agenda.
No.
In any event, I fully expect that the agreement will be approved. It's the same as one that was done again with Wallingford up on Allen Avenue, I think it was.
The only
And
question we had on it, Anthony, is this one agreement between the town of Cheshire and the town of Wallingford where all of the property are listed on it, or are they individual separate agreements?
all individual separate
They are.
agreements.
Okay.
The only one I think that would be multiple would be the Pulte age restricted on Wallingford Road, because that's a condominium and it's, probably actually one connection to the Wallingford sewer system.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So, I mean, other than that, it's any other comments or questions from the authority members for Anthony? Attorney
Well, it
Fazone.
sounds like you're done with us, Anthony, and it's in the two towns' hands, and all you need is a couple of John Hancocks and you'll be all set.
Yep, and it worked out well. It will work out well. It makes sense. The sewer's right in the front yard, so.
Okay.
Learn the process.
Okay.
And thank you very much.
All right, good. Thanks.
Are you done with the meeting?
No, we're on, we have, actually, we're still in ball and socket, right? Or no, that's approved.
Yeah.
I don't remember. We're done with ball and socket, Ann? Help me remember.
I didn't think we made any.
No.
We didn't make a motion yet. That was,
No,
yeah, we didn't,
yeah, we need to make a motion.
we didn't make a motion.
Tell them I'm sorry I interrupted.
Bye,
No,
Anthony.
no, you're
Thank
good.
you.
All right, see ya.
All right, thank you.
Okay, so back to ball and socket, we have everything from Mr. DeAngelis. Mr. Divert has given his information. We've asked a few questions from the authority members. At this point, was there anything else that we need to review on this before we entertain a motion? Nope. Okay, well, anybody want to make a motion?
I'd like to make a motion for approval of the application for final design and award of capacity for extension of public sanitary sewers for the ball and socket arts, 493 West Main Street.
Thank you, Tom. Seconded by?
I'll second it.
Seconded by Jim Urbano. Okay, any other comments or questions? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Everyone's in favor, none opposed. The vote passes unanimously by all those voting and present virtually. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yep, good luck.
Okay, have a good, thank you.
Bye.
Good
Yep.
night.
Okay, next one on the list is I'm sorry, Ann, did you say
I
something?
was saying perfect timing for George. I was thinking that and I said it and I'm sorry. Perfect.
Okay. All right, perfect. Yeah, so strive to be perfect. So last application tonight, Stonebridge Crossing, Highland Avenue. And we have the application in front of us. There's quite a bit of information in the packet. I know authority members have been looking at this. I know that our town engineer representative has actually gone through this in detail. So I will turn it over to, I guess, John, you and Paul. I guess you can provide your presentation to us. I'm not sure who actually wants to go first.
John, would you like me to start?
Yeah, I'll get it started, Tom.
Okay.
Or Don.
No,
Okay.
and Paul,
I'm sorry, Don.
Paul can chime in when he feels appropriate, and we wanted to address the comments that were provided by your consultant. Been a lot of effort on this. We're trying to move this project along as quickly as possible, and so Tom was intending to go through the comments very quickly, one by one, and see how the authority feels about where we stand. We're hoping to get a conditioned action this evening, if possible.
Okay, thank you. I think we would, as long as everything's met and satisfied, I believe that's our goal too. I guess just for the authority members here, I believe everyone has been on the authority long enough to be part of the group where we had the prior applications in front of us. This is the development of the north end near 691. The application is a I won't say a piece of that, but it's part of this process where we're going to be looking at this. The initial application had gone through. Dennis, you reviewed that. You had provided a letter with comments on them. I believe then those were reviewed with some, I would say, questions or information from the developer. And we're at that point now where we have it in front of us, and we're going to be, taking action on it and discussing some of the items and looking to make sure that the town's satisfied. And hopefully that will meet the developer's needs. So Dennis, why don't you, I'm going to ask Dennis to give a little bit of a brief update on this because he spent a lot of time. And then Mr. Knowlton, then you can, help with this process. So, you know, there's a formality to it, but there's so much going on. I think we're just going to have to be, you know, interact on each of the comments just because there's so many of them.
Okay. All right. So do you want me to go through each of the comments, or how, John?
So I believe, why don't
Or do you want a
we,
history of what I've done?
why don't we go to the ones that, quite honestly, are still open, and you can summarize them. Then Mr. Knowlton can give us the information there, and we can then keep going forward.
Okay, great.
Unless the authority members want to go through each one of the comments, it's really up to the.
I think we should go through each one.
Okay, not a problem.
It won't take long, I don't think.
Okay.
All right, so yes, so on the 11th of March, we received the formal application. I spent some time reviewing it. We had a couple of meetings with SLR and Paul Bowman. We went back and forth on a few items, and the end result was just, my recommendation was to present their justification to each of these items at the WPCA meeting, and then go from there. So just going through some of the comments. If you'll notice sometimes, and again, I'm fairly new at this for the town of Cheshire, but a lot of times a draft developers agreement is included in the application. And just as a reminder, you know, for a project of this size, just to make sure that that is drafted and negotiated ahead of time for review and discussion. With respect to obtaining bonding and permits and things like that, we'll just need a construction cost estimate for the project. And again, let me go back and I'll state my comment, and then I'll state the response that we got from SLR. So they agreed to the comment about the developers agreement, and they also agreed to provide a construction cost estimate. The third comment was to just, for me, I haven't been involved in this from the beginning, so the phasing plan to me was a little confusing. It seemed to change from phases to something else and then back to phases. So I just wanted some further clarification on that and some additional details, and they did provide an acceptable response in their memo. So basically, the wastewater collection system to be constructed will be done in 3 phases, but the third phase, it could be constructed in phase 2 if development is accelerated on lot 5. So I guess we'll have to wait and see on that. But basically, phase 1 is the construction of all the underground piping and sewer manholes and sewer pump station to convey the flows over 691 west of the 10-mile river. All the gravity sewer piping from manhole 7 on the plan view to the pump station, and then the sewer force main, again, flowing over the bridge on Dickerman Road to allow for development of lot 7. So again, without getting into too much detail on stationing and things like that, the phasing was provided for the construction of the gravity sewers on the site. The fourth comment was consider installing cross culverts. It looked like on the plans and the topography, looked like there was a couple of areas where there was some deep cuts and fills. We're just questioning the need for cross culverts, but the developer and the engineer did explain to us that that would be a temporary condition and the cross culverts would serve no purpose, and they would update the grading lines on the next set of plans, and I am in agreement with that response. The next comment has to do with the force main. So the force main leaves the pump station and it changes material 3 or 4 times along the run. I wasn't real comfortable with that. Anytime you have a transition fitting from one pipe material to the other, it's a potential failure point. So again, in summary, it went from ductile iron to HDPE, then back to ductile iron, and then back to HDPE. So the suggestion was to just run ductile iron all the way and eliminate the last section of HDPE. There's really no reason to have the force main go downhill if it doesn't go back uphill again. So the last section would be on the other side of the bridge would transition to a gravity main. And then all the force main would be the same material. So the response comment to that is acceptable to me. They said they will do that, just as I stated. They will change from ductile iron all the way to yes. Hello. Okay. And they will transition to a gravity sewer on the other side of the bridge and eliminate the air release manhole. Comment 6, force main right away will be subject to requirements of the town's street excavation permit, and that was acknowledged by the applicant. There was comment 7, a little bit of question about how the town would access the sewer easement in the future. We talked about installing a gate on the back side of the pump station fencing to access that. And also there was some concern about being able to drive a truck over the swale. But after discussions at our meeting and the response comment from the applicant, it was agreed to provide a 14-foot wide second gate on the back rear of the pump station property so that they can access the sewer. And also the swale is designed for vehicular access. So that entire easement will be able to be driven on by a town truck or a flusher truck or something of that nature. And again, that was discussed and agreed to when we met earlier this week. Comment 8 was just make sure that the easement was topsoiled and grass planted and flat. So again, that's comment 8 ties into comment 7. I won't discuss it any further, but it'll be a 14-foot wide flat drivable area for the town to access, maintain, clean, inspect the gravity sewer main.
15 feet, actually. I think you said 14.
Well, it says 14 feet in your response, and then, your response says 14 feet on 7 and 15 feet on 8. So I believe it will be 15 feet.
Yeah, the gate is 14, correct.
Oh, the gate. Oh, excuse me. You are correct. Thank you. So a 15-foot wide easement. Yep.
Oh, and sorry, for the record, this is Tom Knowlton, professional engineer with SLR. I know when they're typing up the minutes, they want to know that. Sorry, go ahead.
No problem. Thanks, Tom. Thanks for clarifying. Comment 9, just some concerns over line of sight when the town is entering and exiting the pump station driveway off on Dickerman Road. So just asked the applicant to make some notes on some site clearing over there. So there's a clear line of sight when a truck is entering or exiting the pump station driveway. Comment 10, there's currently a stone area of crushed stone between the pavement edge and the outside of the fence line. So basically the entire area is paved, and then there's a crushed stone strip on either side of the fence. It's just common for maintenance and things like that, but it's just not, it's a maintenance headache in the end over the years. So we requested that they just paved that entire area, and they did agree to do that. Comment 11, just reiterating that all submittals of all equipment need to be reviewed by the town and the town engineer during construction. They agreed to that. Comment 12, the sanitary sewer must extend into Route 10. And the response is that it will extend into Route 10 right away in phase 3. So we'll just take another look at the plans on that particular comment just to verify. So comments 13 and 14 are where everyone needs to, well, I'll invite the applicant to have to enter into a discussion on. So 13, the pump station plans show an exterior rated generator and a sound attenuated enclosure, and also a small electrical cabinet where all of the pump controls and electrical gear would be located. So the comment there was that the exterior rated generator and electrical enclosure were not acceptable Please design for a building to house the generator and electrical controls similar to all other town pump stations. The applicant's response to that is the exterior generator is designed with a weatherproof sound enclosure, similar to those installed at other town facilities. And the electrical and telemetry equipment will be installed in a weatherproof enclosure adjacent to the wet well. A building is not required for proper function of the pump station. So I have not had any further discussion with them on that response. I might as well let me just finish through the comments. It might be
Yeah,
easier.
I think you should, yes.
Comment 14, the pump station, if those familiar with how a sewer pump station wet well, it's the vessel which all the wastewater winds up at, and then it's collected there and then pumped from that location. The proposed design includes a wet well which has an integral valve vault within the wet well, but it's in a separate concrete boxed out area, if you will. And that valve vault houses your valving, your isolation valving, your flow meter, and your bypass connection. So the comment was to provide a separate valve vault and wet well similar to other stations in town. And the applicant's response was that the integral structure provides the same function, valving, bypass connection, and metering as the two vaults and is more efficient single structure. It's completely isolated from the wet well with concrete partition walls to avoid contact with sewer gases, which provides additional operator safety. The wet well and valve vault each have their own separate access hatch. So again, we'll circle back to 13 and 14. And then 15 is related to those. We made some comments on just the layout of the site, where things were located to allow truck access, town truck access, and snow plowing, and just to kind of make things a little bit easier. I don't think I need to go into the details of comment 15. It's sort of related to the others on if we go with the building or not. The only thing I will point out is we did show a separate fuel tank for the generator, and they are proposing a belly tank to eliminate the need for a separate storage tank with all the bells and whistles that accompany that. And again, so that's comment 15. Comment 16, I asked there was a circular structure on the force main line leaving the pump station. I just did not know what that was. And they clarified that that is a gate valve, and that gate valve is used to isolate the force main from the pump station. And my comment 17 was to add an isolation valve outside of the pump station. So those two go hand in hand. The structure that I did not know what it was is the gate valve. So 16 and 17 are taken care of. And then comment 18, just making sure that we have a 3-phase sewer pump station and not a single phase. So just to verify if power is available, or how it will be brought to the site. And they're currently working with Eversource to, I guess Eversource will be bringing power down Dickerman Road and stepping it down at a transformer outside of the pump station. So that is a summary of the comments and the discussions that we had at a meeting this past, I believe it was Monday morning.
Tuesday, actually.
Tuesday morning.
Yes. Okay. Well, Dennis, thank you very much for that. I mean, I know you guys have been, both the developer and Dennis have been going back and forth on this, and a lot of work has been done. And I appreciate both of you doing this. So any initial questions from any authority members? Because we're going to go right into the items, not items of contention, but the items that we need to try to hash out tonight if this is going to move forward. So, okay, well, if not, why don't we go to first one, I guess. So Dennis, number 13 would be the first one that we want to make sure or is up for discussion. Correct?
Let me just make sure.
Exterior generator. An electrical
Yes, so it's
enclosure? Okay,
correct.
okay. So I'm gonna actually turn it over to the applicant, and we could hear their reasoning and create a dialogue on this. So I guess that would be
All right.
Tom.
Yes, thank you very much. Yeah, I'll speak to that. And we do have John Malone, my coworker, on the line, and Paul Bowman. So either of them can feel free to chime in whenever necessary. But in regards to the design of the pump station, as with any pump station, it's always a good place to start to find out who the authority is that's going to operate it and what are their requirements. We do that on every project that we design. So in this case, we had a design review session with town staff on February 8th to talk about some of our thoughts on design and what we would provide for pumps, and what the town was going to require for manufacturers and things of that nature. And we proposed this concept with no building, with the generator outside, with a weatherproof enclosure and sound attenuation, and also this Old Castle one lift station is what it's called. Old Castle is the manufacturer. That's actually a valve vault in the upper portion of the wet well, so it is only one structure. And in that conversation with town staff, it was not brought to our attention that would not be acceptable. So we proceeded forward with the design in that regard. And the generator itself would be mounted on a concrete pad. It would have like I said, a weatherproof enclosure, sound attenuation, and it would have a belly tank for diesel fuel. In our February 8th meeting, we were told to have at least 24 hours of fuel storage, and we designed it to have actually 3 days or 72 hours of fuel storage. We thought that would probably be better for the town. So in case power outage happened on a weekend or a holiday, you'd have 3 days to get it filled up instead of just one. Subsequent to that February 8th meeting this week, I believe Mr. Divert mentioned that it's probably more than 24 hours actually that the town requires, but we'd have to find out how many days that actually is. So again, we were proposing 3 days of fuel storage. So do you want to take one topic at a time? Generator first?
You could keep going, Tom. I think we're digesting this information as we go along, and if any of us have specific questions from the authority members, we'll try to raise our hands, or not, I guess, interrupt you with the question if we can.
Okay, yeah, not a problem. I don't mind that at all. I may not always be looking at the screen, so feel free to chime in so I can hear you. And then as far as the structure goes for the wet well would have a separate access hatch to be able to remove the submersible pumps via slide rails, and that would not be impeded at all by the valve vault. The structure itself is actually a rectangle with semicircular ends. So the structure actually provides more volume than an equivalent 8-foot diameter circular wet well, which is what we would probably normally propose, but it gives more volume per vertical foot than an 8-foot diameter. So to give you some idea of the volume inside this wet well. And then the valve vault itself would have completely separate access hatch from the surface, from the ground surface, and it has concrete partition walls inside the vault, so that there is no possibility for the sewer gases and the corrosiveness from those sewer gases to affect the pipe and the valves inside the valve vault. The valve vault would have everything that Cheshire would normally expect to see in a valve vault, with isolation valves, a connection for bypass pumping in the event of some sort of catastrophic failure, and then it also has a flow meter, which was requested by the town. All that would be in a single vault, as I mentioned. And then as far as the electrical goes, the electrical would be brought in from Clark Street to the north in Southington, which then turns to Dickerman Road once you get over the Cheshire-Southington town line. And the power would be brought in overhead, and then it would go underground at the pump station site. And we propose to have a weatherproof enclosure for all of the telemetry electrical panels, and it would be adjacent to the wet well for ease of access for maintenance and for the operators. We also show a site light at the pump station site, again, for ease of maintenance. If somebody had to go out there at night for a service call, an alarm of some kind, there would be a switch inside the panel that they can turn on a site light and have good visibility while they're out at the site working.
Could I ask you to expand on what a,
Oh, you're cutting out, Steve.
oh, I'm sorry. Can you elaborate on what a weatherproof enclosure is? Because I know that we've got this question of should it be a building or not a building, but you're using weatherproof enclosure. I'm wondering what that is.
Well, this weatherproof enclosure is actually, it's going to be a pretty good size enclosure, but it's not a building, so you don't walk inside. It has doors for ease of access. It has full height doors, so you can open it up, and when you're doing maintenance on this, you can actually access anything and everything that's inside. But it is lockable for security, and it's also weatherproof, like I said, so it can take rain, snow, wind, and what have you.
So the automatic transfer switch, the motor, the motor controls, everything would be
And the
component-wise inside. And telemetry would all be inside there.
Correct.
And it's like a NEMA 4. Is this stainless? I mean, or
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Continue on, please.
I believe that covers the two items related to the generator, and the structure and the electrical. So.
Okay. Okay. All right. So comments from Dennis with where, at this point we have applicant is looking for the components to be, what I want to say is, directly outside. Now, so I have my opinion on a couple of these things here, but maybe we can see if any of the authority members have some comments on this. I guess I can go through my opinions first, since I have them here. So the only thing, Tom, that I really want to address is when you have an electrical panel that is outside, that's fine, but it's not fine when it's really called into use, because we know most of the time failures, troubleshooting, other types of issues, you're going to need to get in there when you're probably not at the best of conditions. Snow, rain, power outages, they usually are associated with hurricanes, other types of weather events. So the controls themselves, I'd like you to possibly entertain or discuss with us your agreement to maybe put those in some type of a building and enclosure that would protect workers who would be working on them in these type of conditions. I think that's really my only comment on this process. Everything else on there, I think, is okay. I'm okay with the generator being outside now. Generators have, technology's changed. The town already has, I drive around and I see multiple generators that are already outside. So I'm not sure I would be stuck on that, but maybe some of the other authorities would like to, chime in on this also and provide their comments.
Yeah, I think our experience, with our existing pump stations is they're all enclosed. So the concept of having a weather protected but otherwise outdoor facility is certainly cause for some hesitation, and I'm inclined to heed staff advice when it comes to that point. So it would be nice to know what the difference to you, the developer, are of what we're asking. Is this a big leap for you to make, or what is the extent of that? The other question I have is regarding the generator. I don't have any qualms with it being outside either, but the 3-day, and maybe this is a question for staff, for our other pump stations, How much fuel do we normally have on hand to run the backup generator? Is it 3 days, is 3 days a standard? Is it, because I know we've had outages for better part of a week.
We've sized our generators in the past for 5 days.
Scott,
5
is
days for
that,
stores? What's
so
that?
5 days of storage, I guess my
Storage,
question.
5 days to run continuously for 5 days before we have to refuel.
Okay, Tom, the loading on that, is that rated for 3 days at 100% load, or is that 3 days rated at, 50% load? I'm trying to figure out the 3 days, what it's actually rated for.
Yeah, we had proposed to size the fuel storage for 3 days at full load.
Full load.
Yeah.
Realistically, I don't know any pump station that
pump
runs a full
stations
load.
don't operate 24/7. You're right. So
Yeah, so
even in a power outage, they're not going to operate 24/7.
yeah, it's going to cycle whatever the draw
And
is to the wet well.
each pump is sized for peak flow, so only one pump should be operating at a time.
So realistically, just doing some back of the napkin calculations, we're going to be getting 3+ significantly more days. I mean, is that,
Yeah, I guess
Dennis,
Scott,
can you opine on that, Dennis?
Or Scott, when you say 5 days, is that 5 days with one pump at or 50% load, or what do you say 5 days of storage is at?
5 days of normal operation.
Normal
Oh,
operation.
normal operation. So we probably, I guess.
So you may have enough with the 3 days.
We might
So,
even
yeah,
have more than that. Yeah, actually,
You
that's
could
true.
have more, but I mean, I think that's just that it's obviously it's something that we need to look at, because I'm thinking we may meet Scott's request there already, but
Yeah, we may be talking the same thing, but
we may be talking the same.
That's true.
Yeah, that's just to quickly. That's correct. The way that the guidelines are written is at full continuous operation. I don't know why they say that, but some pump stations do operate continuously.
Well, I mean, you think of some pump stations that
Yeah.
are used for
So,
dewatering or flood control, things like
this
that.
pump station will probably operate less than 2 hours a day when you add it all up. So yeah.
And keep in mind, Mr. Carroll, I think it was you that mentioned, we've had some power outages for more than a week, but during a power outage, you can schedule a fuel delivery. So if you had 3 days of storage, they can come out and refuel all of your pump station sites. So you don't have to have storage for the full length of a power outage necessarily.
It sounds like the capacity you're providing is akin to what we have in our throughout the town. So I'm satisfied with that.
Yeah, and I'll double check that with our electrical engineer to make sure that we're equivalent or better.
Yeah, perfect. All right. What's the next, what I want to say, sticking point here? Integral valve vault and wet well. So you've described the valve wet well. It's an Oldcastle precast drop-in model. I know that, personally our firm has looked at using these, and I think, Dennis, you had initially said that there was some, you had positive feedback with them also. I guess you just, help us understand in the authority. We're not changing a technology. We're going to a newer technology. It's easier to build, easier to install,
I mean, the only thing I'll say is like Tom said, the first thing he said was the first thing that you do when you're designing something is to poll who's going to be operating the station. So, there's many different styles and many different types of pump stations. They're all different, and everyone has their own opinion on how it should be. So, I went to the source of the folks who are going to be actually operating this and be the ones out there at 2 o'clock in the morning. And that was the feedback that I was provided, hence my comment. So I guess it's either way is acceptable in my opinion. It always comes down to preference.
Engineering wise, you don't see any performance issues with the operation of this, I guess is what I'm asking.
I don't. The only thing I will say is the way that these integral valve vaults are constructed is they're much smaller than if you were to have a separate valve vault. So it does get a little tight in there. particularly with the flow meter. So I know one thing that I always do and always offer is to maybe take a trip to one of these stations and take a look at it and see what you think. I mean, that's always helpful.
Okay, so
There are over 100 installations of this type in the tri-state area, and there's quite a few in the state of Connecticut here. I could probably get a list for you from the equipment supplier, and we could set up a site visit to one if anybody's interested.
all right. Plant layout has been addressed. So I'm leaning towards requiring some type of a building to house the electronic controls. And I guess, from the developer's perspective, what is, I guess, is that acceptable? Is it not acceptable? Maybe I can try to understand. Yeah, Mr. Bowman.
Thank you, Justin. Thank you for listening to us and letting us make a presentation this evening to address, oh, by the way, just for the record, I believe Steve Calcaney and Frank Di Natale are both on this call for the record. So if Ian could note that.
Note that. Okay. Thank you. Okay. And this is Mr. Bowman speaking, Paul Bowman for the record also.
Paul Bowman, 387 Mount Sanford Road. And Frank or Steve, if you feel differently than what I say, just feel free to speak up. So to Mr. Carroll's point, yes, everything that we do, every change, every increment of expense is critically looked at for this project. This is a very large project. All of you are very well aware that this thing has had so many starts and stops since 1986. Infrastructure has been an issue since day one, and one of the reasons that it's never gone forward. John Milone and his team have looked at this 100 different ways. We've talked to Southington. We've pulled this thing apart 100 different ways. And so from a value engineering perspective and what we've done, and my concern to make sure the town has a project or a product that's safe, a product that is reliable, and it's as good as any other station that we have. That was what we looked to do. There really were no specifications. There were no programs. There was nothing available that I could find on any town record. And I searched a lot of them to understand how to put this together. And that's why we had meeting after meeting and discussion after discussion to try to come up with a product that the Water Pollution Control Authority would be happy with. So to cut to it, if doing a building to cover the controls and the electrical components and to make them safer and easier for staff at the WPCA to use or to service, we would be willing to do a building over that structure. We would probably look to do something similar that was done on the Cook Hill Pump Station, use it's a little bit of a colonial building, has like a clapboard vinyl siding on it, and, traditional roof. We would be willing to do that to try to move this project forward. Timing is everything in this, and this has been a long process, both for water. We have a memorandum of understanding with Southington in the Regional Water Authority. It's at the Department of Public Health right now for approval. So we should have the water component solved. The last component right now is the sewer. And we're looking to try to solve this and come up with a satisfactory resolution as quickly as possible. So that's, we'd be willing to build a building.
Okay. Thank you for
John.
addressing that. Yeah. One second too. Ann, Tom Scannell's internet dropped. So he's
trying to
off.
get back in.
No,
Okay.
his
He's
internet is dead.
Okay.
So
Oh,
we still have a quorum. But
right.
he apologizes. He just
Thank
called.
you.
So I'm sorry, Dennis. Yes.
No, that's fine. I'm sorry. But I think it would be important to provide Paul maybe with a little more information on the building with respect to what the town would be expecting, so that to avoid this same issue again. I mean, it could be a wood stick building, it could be a CMU block building. I mean, everything comes down to cost, and I think the town should let Paul know how the building should be constructed, or what they're anticipating. Or Paul, perhaps you could propose something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right now, we'd be looking to do a stick building. It'd be stick built, dug for studs, plywood, vinyl siding, the doors. You could pick the doors that are necessary for access, and traditional 30-year architectural shingles, very similar to what you have done. And Dennis, I think your firm did the bid spec for the Cook Hill pump station. I saw that on your website.
Yep.
So it would be look and feel very similar to that building.
The Cook Hill station, a lot of the I want to say the repairs and upgrades were actually performed by the town of Cheshire employees. George, that was when Walt and his team had made those upgrades, and most of the work was done internally. Is that right? Do you remember that?
There was, I think Scott can speak to it as well, but there were definitely some internal upgrades, and there were some contractor usage, but it was a kind of general contracted by the town, if you will. So
Yeah, those projects were a blend of outside contracting and staff.
And I thought that was a great story, and that, everybody came together, and, we had some reduced costs of what was going forward. I mean, Scott, anything from your side on that? What that specifically, the Cook Hill?
It was a combined effort. There's only so much the staff could do, but we did
Right.
install the new pumps and type of things like that.
You built the rails, I remember, right? You new rails,
Yes, we did.
everything.
Yes, we did. And then when the electrical and the computer upgrades came in, that was when we had the electrical contractor do that. But that was separate because we had a separate contractor add the addition to the building. So it was a combination of private and public people working together to accomplish that.
Okay, great, thank you.
Okay, so hey, John.
Yep, Jim.
So, Paul and Frank have 50 years, 100 years experience in buildings. I think putting restrictions on how to build a little doghouse is really trivial, quite honestly, because if you go around town, they build half the town. So I think when Paul Bowman says, I'm going to build a building that will withstand our requirements, I think he's going to do it.
I would agree, but I also think that he's also given us a little bit of direction, saying that the design and the facade and everything would be similar to the Cook Hill pump station, and how we get there is up to Paul. It's the soundness of it, how it looks. Is this even going to be visible from the street?
It would be visible. It's about 200 feet off of Dickerman Road.
Okay.
It would be about probably 12 feet at lower elevation, and it would be visible from I-691 as well.
Okay.
We just to make it clear, we would not be willing to do a CEMU, masonry building but we will build it to the current codes. The codes have all changed. We do portal framing. We have to do brace wall construction. We have to, achieve the New Haven counties in the shoreline wind category. So we have to build. We would have this designed by an architect. So it's stamped plans that the town building official could look at to make sure it meets all of the existing codes.
Yeah, just make sure that as far as the codes go, that we have enough room internal for someone to safely work on the electrical apparatus. I mean, that's really the clear space requirements for OSHA, and to make sure that my perspective on this is really the town of Cheshire's employees' safety. That was my reason behind this. It was not to be something visual or look nice, or it's from a safety perspective.
Right, something they can go into, shut the door and work on there, no matter what the weather is outside.
Well, no matter what the weather is. Yeah, exactly. Just, if it, with the winds coming sideways, we don't want to be opening up a panel with a meter on our hands, trying to test 480 volts. It's just, they don't go together.
Right.
Tom's coming in.
Tom's coming back.
Speaking for myself, not necessarily the entire authority, Paul, I appreciate your accommodation on this. And I know that this project, is covered decades now. And it's nice to see something coming close to fruition. And, you understand that, we lost, we had a town engineer that retired. We brought on an engineering consultant in Wright Pierce and Dennis Stevert. And we've had some staff changes and everything. So apologies if maybe you didn't get the clearest direction at the earliest point in time, but I think we're ending up in the right place. And I appreciate your assistance in getting there.
Well, thank you. And I appreciate everything. This has been a long haul for all of us, believe me. And so we understand that, and we're just trying to get to the finish line. Time kills deals. So we're just trying to keep the ball moving here. And we really appreciate you guys taking this into consideration, and hopefully we can have something to move forward after tonight's meeting.
If I could ask one last question, I promise it's not a difficult, I don't think it's a difficult one. What is the thinking behind the sewer connection to Route 10 and waiting till after phase 3? If conditions changed, if something changed, is that a big ask to have that done earlier, let's say in conjunction with a phase 2?
That's a great question, Steve. And the reality is this project doesn't work without critical mass. And that's one of the reasons we put this into phases. And Tom sent forward, the phasing plan, which we anticipate. So it's possible. Now, Lot 5 is mostly commercial space, it's all commercial. We have several letters of intent for particular uses there. These things take an incredible amount of time. We don't anticipate that phase until it's phase 3. So we still have to build the town road. We still have to come in from Highland Avenue. So that would be our next focus, because we do have LOIs on other lots than Lot 5 that we're focusing on right now. So it could be a sooner phase, but the reality is it's like building a bridge to nowhere. Someone wants us to bring this 8-inch sewer line to Route 10. Well, who knows when the state property will be developed? Who knows?
Right.
Who knows when the use is going to be there? We've provided a easement for the town of Cheshire. We would grant that day one.
Looks like it failed again.
I'm sorry?
I got it.
You're good, Tom. We hear you.
Okay.
So we would provide that easement so it's in place from day one. But for us to bring a line all the way up there and up to Route 10, again, incremental costs to this project are problematic going forward. We need critical mass in each phase to be able to get to that next phase.
Okay, thanks for that.
Okay, and then the only other outstanding item is we will be expecting a developer's agreement, obviously, as part of this. And if you want to just speak, timing on that type of thing.
Sure. So there's a standard developer's agreement that I have here. It goes back to 2013. Is the latest one that the town has. It's a 2 or 3 page document. This is going to be a little more complicated because keep in mind, we're providing sewer for other properties. There's like 11 properties that would have a potential to tie into a sewer north of I-691. So we're looking for a developer's agreement with the town, but we would like to be reimbursed no differently than others have been reimbursed over time for connecting into a privately built sewer. So I asked the town to try to get a copy of something that was done years ago. While we were talking, I thought of another project that came through East Johnson Avenue from, I think it was from Route 10, and there has to be an agreement there. So we're just looking for a model so we don't have to recreate a new developer's agreement. If we have to, we will, but we've started working on it. I'm just fearful of doing a 3-page simple form developer's agreement. I don't think it fairly represents the project.
Well, I think, we're not as long as you're not asking for anything special above and beyond anything else that's been predicated, I think we're fine. Yeah.
As I recall, the WS development agreement was quite extensive. That was well beyond the 2 or 3 pages, and I know they get very complicated.
It's key if we can keep it simple with a good intent that both parties are in agreement with. I'm a fan of that. So okay, to the authority members here, do you have any other specific questions? I believe we've gone through the items we have the information on the flows. Everybody has backup information for the engineering perspective. Dennis has gone through and done his review of that. And when this came in, Dennis, I appreciate you basically said, I'm going to be taking out a block of time so I can get this, back in a manner that's acceptable to the developers. So your effort on this is much appreciated.
Thanks, John. I just one thing to add moving forward to Tom. Let's send me and Scott frequent plan and updates. We can try to save you some time in your iterations. I think it'll just with respect to site layout, I don't need to see the gravity sewer, just the layout of the pump station and the building and stuff. You could send us those as they become available. Scott and I can comment on it to save you some time.
Okay. Thanks.
Yeah, the communication is critical, and I don't care what process you're going through. It's usually the root cause of where problems lay. Mr. Malone, anything from you?
No, nothing to add.
It's the first time I've seen you smile. Paul's got a smile and Tom's got a smile. Maybe it'll make them happy. All right. So
John, can I ask a question?
Yes, Zach, you can.
You talked about putting a building over the electrical structure so people can work on it and service it.
Correct.
Now the generator is going to be an outdoor rated generator, which I have no issue with, but
Correct.
Is there going to be some documentation that's going to say that snow removal is going to be removed from it for serviceability and so people can get to it? If that's going to be external outside of it?
I think that's that would fall under the O&M manual of the pump station, and I would expect that the developer would provide the O&M manual for it also. Snow removal would be, from my perspective, it would be obvious, but I think that's part of what Dennis was asking for when it came time to where's the building located, what's our clearance, how do we make sure that you can have access to it safely. Is that what you're talking about, Zach? I just want to make sure.
No, like if you're talking about putting a building over the electrical components, which is great. It's easier to service, but the generator, which is going to be an external one.
Yes.
If something goes wrong, panels need to come off to service this thing. And is there going to be something that says that it's going to be cleaned all the way around so people can work on it and service if you do have a power outage and the generator fails?
George, George has some comments here on that.
Yeah, I think that would be by Scott and his folks, our staff, to handle that. Once the pump station's accepted by the town, it's that will all become town responsibility.
And you're used to that, right? I assume.
Yes, we are.
Yeah, I'm all too used to it.
All too used to it.
Okay. Thanks. Good question, Zach. Seeing that right within your wheelhouse. All right. I'm trying to gather my thoughts here on what this looks like.
I would just
from-
give everybody one last chance. Anybody got any concerns or questions or developers?
digest. Yeah, as we
anything-
digest this here, take a second.
Anything you feel like we haven't covered?
There's a lot here, guys. Jason, are you there still?
Yes, I'm here. I don't have anything beyond what's already been discussed. Seems like
It's
the thing is just this building to protect the electrical and make it more accessible for folks servicing it. So yeah, I'm good with it.
And I know I missed about 10 minutes when I had that failure, but nobody's smiling. Is everybody, we have controversy?
no, they're very mad with you.
That's not unusual.
We missed you, Tom.
Thank you. I had a glass of wine, so don't worry about it.
Is that what your doctor said for your heart?
Hey, one a week.
Okay. All right. So I'm gonna ask my vice chair to eloquently recapture everything we've been talking about in a motion.
Well, I would propose that we approve the application for final design and award of capacity for the Stonebridge crossing on Highland Avenue, subject to the changes discussed tonight, that being to house the pump station in a permanent structure. Not sure we have anything beyond that. And as per the agreement, the engineer's comments and developers' agreement to those half a dozen or dozen and a half so points that Dennis Stevens in his memo dated. This is getting too long. In his preliminary comments memo.
I will second that with just a clarification that we are expecting the building to house the power and electronic control components of the operation of the pump station.
I will accept that as a friendly amendment.
Friendly, maybe. Any comments from the authority members? Zach, Jason? I can't see you guys. That's why I'm calling you guys out.
No comments from Jason.
No comments either.
Okay, hearing no further comments, we'll go to a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay, opposed? The vote passes unanimously by all those present. So, Mr. Bowman and team, congratulations. We wish you luck in hopefully getting this in the right direction. And I appreciate your willingness to work with us on these items to move this forward.
Thank you. We'd like to, thank the commission members, staff, and the town engineer as well for working with us on this, and hopefully we can get everything finalized and approved and get in the ground sooner than later. So thank you all again.
Yeah, thank you.
Good
Thanks
job,
a lot.
Frank.
Good guys. All right, where are we? Done with
Number
we're on
5.
Number 5 on projects. We have no projects, so we are going to move on from that. The superintendent's report. Scott, we turned on nitrogen removal. Do we have UV? What's the status?
Nitrogen removal is all year long.
Okay.
We're starting
phosphorus.
We're starting phosphorus removal. We'll be starting up next week, so we get a couple of days of removal before we're actually going to permit time.
Okay.
So we're all set up for that. Plants running well.
Do you monitor phosphorus levels at all during off when we're not required to remove it?
We do a once a month grab sample for it.
Okay.
But it's not reportable.
Okay. just kind of just for your own
Just for
edification?
our own edification, we grab it and take a look at it.
Okay.
Plant's running good. That's about it, really.
No issues. Everything's running well.
Everything is running well.
When does UVA come online?
What's that?
When does
The UV.
UV come online?
May 1st. We'll
I'm
start.
thinking NCAA basketball.
The tournament starts May 1st, okay?
May 1st.
Okay. Okay. Engineering report. So maybe I think since we have Dennis and George, from my perspective, having you here is a great thing. At this time, you're going through the budget process too. Is that correct? Or
Yeah, that's correct. Scott and I will have to brief our budget on April 1st to the council.
okay.
So
Anything different major that I guess maybe we should be could support, involve those types of things with you?
Scott, chime in if I misspeak, but I think it's a pretty status quo budget. Scott's budget actually drops by a few dollars this year, so it's I think a function of some of the
I think it's a function of debt.
debt service. Yeah,
Yes.
Debt
It
service.
is a function of debt service.
Yeah. Okay. Cheap money.
Yeah. There is no significant change in my budget this year. I tried to keep it pretty stable.
Okay. The only thing I think maybe we may see a hit with, it looks like fuel costs are going up, obviously.
Yes, I did increase the fuel cost or the heating oil costs and stuff, but it may not be enough. I'm hoping it is. I took a guess. I don't know.
Yeah, the good news is we're kind of we have year-long contracts for certain things, that being one. So we'll at least get through half the year with kind of a preferred rate, if you will. And then,
with bulk purchase, right?
Who knows?
Do I understand they're doing capital budget more or less simultaneous with the operating budget?
That's correct. Yep.
Do we have any significant monies for year one in that capital budget?
There's from what the town manager Scott made some requests of various pieces of equipment and things, but the town manager obviously makes his recommendation to the council, and I think the vehicles were pushed back several years, and so I don't believe there is much in year one, I'm going to say at this point.
Okay.
We'll double check for you, but it's let's see, these books, here we go. Yeah, the only there is one appropriation that's going forward for $150,000 for heavy duty vehicles at the plant, and that is for generator for the influent pump station, I believe. So that's the one thing that's going forward this year.
Okay, thanks.
Excellent. All right, thank you. I don't believe we have any. Oh, well, there is one piece of new business. I don't want to call it, I understand that the long lost pipe that goes under 691 has been found. Two pipes that have gone under 691 have been found.
Both east and west, right?
Right. And I guess my hope is that we can document them in GIS, so at least they can be found again when we're all gone and if they're not used, but at least there will be a record of them electronically in our GIS system. We can just put them as, location that they go nowhere and maybe some detail on them.
Sure, we can do that. One is town owned. It was directed by the Wpca back in 1985. I want to say some mid 80s.
Tom Scannell must have been on then. He probably remembers.
Whoa!
I'll let that one be, but it's we have an as-built for that. We have not verified it's actually there, but being that
Okay.
there's ties,
You
we
should-
believe
yeah.
it's there, and that is definitely town-owned. And there's another private, my understanding is it was privately installed, similar time frame before, as the road was being built, that connects two parcels that were bisected by the road to the west of Route 10 in this case. So there are some options across the highway, that's for sure.
Okay, good. Interesting. Yeah, I mean, at least now, there's always been rumors of them, but little detail. So having that information is pretty good stuff now.
Yeah, and kudos to Mike Caffrey, our engineering technician, who just,
Found
by circumstance, it was on kind of a drawing that was in a drawer somewhere, as these things go.
Yeah.
We wish we, did it at our fingertips, but, and then Don Nolte, Dan Bombero, Dennis, Scott, everybody had a piece of it
Everybody touched it.
to figure out where it was and what it could be used for. So congratulations to all those folks.
Excellent. All right. Well, that's the only piece of new business. I don't believe we have any other older business to discuss. Any authority members have anything else to discuss? None. Okay. Well, then at this point, I'm going to make first off, I'd like to thank everyone for being here, getting through more work than we've had to do. I think when the plant was being built, we had more stuff going on here as far as applications and discussions. So everything went as well as can be expected. Communication was well, and I thank everyone for their participation in this. George, thank you for being there. Dennis, thank you. Scott, thank you for being here also. Appreciate it. And with that, I will make a motion to call the meeting to an end at 7:48.
You gotta approve the minutes first.
Oh,
Minutes.
You think you're gonna get
Oh, it's on
away
page 2.
Oh, and McBain.
Hey.
Oh, you know what? That's my fault. I was jumping the gun. Where are the minutes?
Understandably.
Oh, let's see. Where are they here?
There's a couple of things that need to be read by Marilyn that she put in that are attached to the back of the minutes from last month.
Okay.
All right, I'm gonna just say goodnight, everyone. Good to see you.
Thank you, Scott.
Take care,
Thanks,
Scott.
Bye-bye.
Somebody tell me what they are.
They're in the very, very back. Very, very back. Number 10.
I have to pull them up electronically because I can't find them in my
Okay,
package.
here, I'll summarize them. On page 2, paragraph 5, line 3, it should read used hops, not original hops.
Okay.
And on page 3, paragraph 1, lines 1 and 2 should read spent hops, not spec.
Spent. Fantastic. Okay. With those
With those modifications, I'll make a motion to approve the meeting minutes of February 25th, 2021.
seconded by Mr. Parati. Comments or further modifications, edits? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, vote passes unanimously. So now
Okay,
we're on
now you can
item
do the
11.
honors.
Now we're on item 11. I will call this Thursday,
Oh, wait,
March
hold
20.
on.
Oh,
I want to
jeez.
extend it. No, just one quick thing.
No, please.
I had an idea to maybe make things a little bit easier for Anne, possibly. I think there's got to be a better way to get all this information out to everybody. So I was curious if maybe the town has an FTP site, or the IT department can set up a site. I mean, you could just drag and drop these applications in there as they come in, and then you won't have to print and scan all this stuff and send all those emails, unless you like doing that. I don't know. Just
George, it's up to you there.
We're not that technologically
Okay.
advanced yet, Dennis. I mean, we can be.
No problem.
but,
No problem. I'll
Let
end
me
the
ask-
discussion then.
Let me ask a question. Who is printing all of the large spec sheets? Isn't that the
So it's on the developer.
developer?
Yes.
It's on the developer, yeah. But to answer your question, next time I talk to Corey, I'll ask him about that FTP site.
Okay.
And I know that we did during the plant bid process, instead of having AECom print out, the whole bid package for whoever needed it, we actually posted it online, and anybody who was actually wanting to bid was able to go in and capture it themselves. So we did that to try to save some costs on the project also. So we have done in the past. That's about all I could say about it. Our technical guy, Steve, can figure it out in about an hour.
Coincidentally, I have a meeting coming up April 5th with the tech study group, so I can,
Perfect.
I can bring it up then.
You could solve all our problems.
I don't know about that. Yours are beyond solving.
Yeah, Dennis, that's a great comment, though. I mean, that's what I've tasked everyone with saying, okay, how can we make the process be more efficient, be more cost effective, reduce the time also, and
It's
that
even just
anything.
when you use the emailed version from the applicant, it's just much crisper and clearer, and you could zoom in and see things a lot better. That's all.
Correct. Yeah, no, great.
Save on paper.
Yes, correct.
My understanding too was that some people with other commissions as well aren't technologically that savvy, and therefore they want the hard copy. But hey, if we could eliminate that.
Maybe we could, we can do a preference. It can be
I
just.
think the hard copy is fine. I think you could still send the hard copy. It's just that when you send out the meeting packet, you could just send a link to the meeting packet. You don't have to assemble it. You know what I'm saying?
Great. That'd be great. Mm-hmm.
I don't know who delivered it to my front door, but it just showed up there one
Engineering
day.
tech, Mike Caffrey.
Way to go, Mike. He found
Same
everybody's
guy who
house.
He found my house too.
He found our houses. He found the pipe. He'd send them out to.
You could have all called and said, it's in town hall, come pick it up.
Yeah. All right. Well, again, thanks, Dennis. I appreciate this. And I've told this to Dennis multiple times, and I think, I want to say it in front of the whole authority that, Dennis, you're doing a good job. I think you've jumped in with both feet very well, and anything that you've had to learn is you've done it, and we appreciate that, and want it to continue.
Sure, no problem, and enjoy it. Thanks.
Perfect.
I enjoy it. That's not what I meant. I enjoy it.
None of us enjoy it. All right, so I make a motion to end tonight's meeting, 7:54 p.m.
Second.
Seconded by Tom. All in favor?
Aye.
Everyone have a great weekend.
Good night, everybody.
You too.
Appreciate
Thank
it.
you all for your time.
Thanks a lot. Yeah, everyone. Bye-bye.
All right, take care now.
Good night.